On my mark. 5,
We're on express elevator to hell. Going down.
2, 1, mark.
Welcome back to the Resupply with me, guy next door.
Me, DK, and Nothan.
And Nothan, because, you know, he sucks. Bringing you your semi-regular double tap of all things Space Marines and Laser Force. Hey, man. How are you?
Well, it's been quite the week.
But-
I thought the worst thing to happen would be my old microphone shitting the bed. The good news is that I had ordered a replacement that was cheaper than my old microphone. I feel like it sounds pretty decent, and it actually showed up before the show today. I wasn't expecting it till tomorrow, but you get to hear the nice crisp sound.
I mean, you better be using that Amazon Prime sub on our own Resupply stream.
Most definitely am.
Yes,
Although
right.
I think I'm still working off of a Stalker's gifted sub for the month. But if
Yeah.
not, I'm definitely using the Amazon sub. But yeah, beyond that, and then the hits keep coming in the US with obviously breaking news in the US with Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg having passed away at the age of 87.
Yeah,
and
that's sad.
that's going to be a whole other political shit show too. Like, you know, not that we needed any more of that this year in 2020,
Yeah.
but
Maybe we.
it's only going to complicate things more.
We should set you up with like a show, like on a Monday night or something, where you rant about the terrible things that are happening. So if people want to come and just everyone can just like stew in all of this terribleness that is 2020. Get it out of your system.
I think I would probably have to like drink on a weekly basis for that show, and I fear where that might lead things. So maybe we'll just table that idea for right now. But, hey, I mean, it's not out of the question.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's really sad news to start today off with.
Yeah, for the non-crazy people in the U.S. anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. So thoughts are with the whānau. But yeah, in happy news, so today being the 19th of September in Australasia, a massive happy birthday to the one and only Fireball DK. Happy birthday, brother.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, future man from the past.
I mean, you know, awesome. Holy crap. Slam Man in with the gift subs already to celebrate your birthday.
Thanks, Maddie. What a great birthday present.
That's pretty
What a great early birthday present from the US.
His birthday present is going right into my pocket. So happy birthday, DK.
You know.
I just realized my camera's all...
Yes, I've decided to take a cue from our guest coming up, and I'm going to be turning 35 part 2 again this year, because we're just going to skip the usual age you would turn in 2020. Like, I'll go ahead and turn 37 next year, but I'm not... No,
37.
This year doesn't count.
Yeah, well, I hope that tomorrow, being your actual birthday, as a day full of wonder, are you guys doing anything?
Probably gonna go see my folks, have some dinner, hopefully have a few laughs.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a pretty low-key year, so the fact that things aren't actively on fire right now, I think I'll take that as enough of a birthday present.
Yeah, I mean, don't light any birthday candles, whatever you do.
Nope. Nope, there will be no birthday reveal.
Yeah. We have a wee bit to get to on the show. Before we do that, a little bit of housekeeping. I know, Heathen, you've just brought up about the hats. So that was on my to-do actually, to talk about that. So for anyone who ordered hats or caps, these ones right here, I'll be sending out some messages this week, about what the actual shipping prices are going to be. It's not actually that bad. I think the worst was out to you, Smalley, and even that was like 25 New Zealand, I think, to send a couple hats. Cheers, Heathen. But I don't think I messaged Al. I'll be sending you a message at some point to give you a bill. But I'll send those messages out and send out some PayPal requests during the week. And
to the Resupply's distribution partners in various countries.
yeah, yeah, exactly right. Al, Than. And by default, Smalling, I guess. But she's the only one who ordered, so be it. Cheers, Slam Man. Thank you very much for.
Smalley, buy 50 and then just sell them.
Oh Jesus, Slam Man's gonna. Okay, he's just redeemed like 4 hydrate bots.
I guess he earned them. So
apparently, you want to see us drown on a live stream.
Yeah, this time we were smart and peed right before the podcast.
We're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Cheers. Yeah. I got a 6. Oh, I only did 5 to be fair. Number 6. Fuck. Man, I wish it was a cooldown on that. So that's where we are with the hats and shiz. Obviously, he's very happy with himself. Heathen managed to play lasers at Botany this morning. That's something that we need to dance buggy dance. That's something that we potentially need to do is go out there and play some Laser Force, so we can learn the arena for the upcoming Auckland Triple Threat tournament, which I'm very excited.
It'd be more fun if you don't learn it beforehand.
I mean, there is that as well. Heathen, that's technically Heathen's home site, and he's on my team, so I might be
trying to take the inside edge.
That's right.
I see. Mm-hmm.
We're thinking men. What was the other thing I was gonna? Oh yeah, so obviously we did our podcast last week, and it's by far the most viewed one that we've done so far, or at least the most viewed live stream that we've done.
People like controversy apparently, and that's what we're serving up.
I think as well, because there was a few people in there that featured on the list that were also watching, so I think people do like to hear themselves be mentioned. Because to be fair, like getting praise for something that you love doing is pretty awesome.
Yep.
No compliments.
I mean, unless it's self-praise, in which case everybody jumps on you for it.
I mean, yeah, there is that. But who would do such a thing? The tall poppies around here are like, no. Chop. Did you get any backlash from last week at all?
No, I mean, not real backlash. I mean, people are giving me shit as I expected, but it's not like it was like, you're a delusional moron. You're so terrible at lasers. I can't believe you would even have the gall to pick yourself. Just more the kind of standard ribbing you would expect.
Yeah.
But, if you would have just taken me with a pick before, we could have avoided that embarrassment.
Yeah. Damn it, we should have practiced beforehand.
Yeah, we should have colluded to make sure we excluded Than in the actual rounds.
I mean, it happened anyway.
It happened anyway, but true enough.
I got a couple messages from some people who I haven't received messages from either before at all or in a number of years. So it was really nice that the show opened up some lines of communication that were previously lost or previously weren't there. So that was kind of cool.
I feel like it was at least good in that I think there was enough of a spread kind of across eras and across sites. I mean, not a ton of sites represented, but enough that I feel like we couldn't necessarily be accused of over focusing on like one particular era, one particular region, or one particular site or something like that. I mean, obviously some sites like Brisbane and Detroit were going to figure heavily, but yeah, they have really good players. So what are you going to do? We can't lie.
Yeah. And I think there were a couple of key players I think that we left out of the list or didn't get picked that could have been, and like at the tail end of those lists, I think there were some players that could have made it that didn't.
But maybe our guests will be able to allude to that once we bring in our mysterious person lurking in the shadows.
That's right. There was 2 things that sort of stood out to me in terms of backlash. The first was Russ. Russ just being Russ. he
He's an angry man holed up in his house. Quarantine has not been kind to poor Russ. His hair is growing out in all directions. I think he's getting a little stir crazy.
yeah.
It's like on that episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where, Charlie has like the board where he's connecting all the conspiracy theory
Yeah.
stuff. That's going to be Russ in about 2 weeks, I'm afraid.
Except it'll be made out of Lego.
Yeah, accurate.
Yeah. And the other one was an interesting take on it was Morange in Discord.
Hmm. I just caught up on that today.
Yeah. He made some interesting points. Like, it's good to hear the point of view from relatively newer players. I had the same thing. I was hanging out on Discord with Know It All and Mr. Doom last night. And both of them saying really enjoyed the show. Didn't know most of the people you're talking about. I was like, well, that's really interesting. So they came up with some stuff for other forms of how we do those lists. But I'm thinking maybe I'd like to actually talk about those things as well with our guests, which now that I think about it, well, not even think about it, it's been brought up in chat. It's not so secret because I put it in the title of the show. So we might
we need a few lessons in media organization here. I told you how many times you got to lead into the break with like the little teaser. After the break, we'll tell you who should have made the All-Star list.
I got to get my clickbait media titles down. I should have been with special guest, Mysterious Man. But let's just should we just bring him on now? I mean, he's.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, okay. Hang on a second. Let me just let me just switch over. Magic. Hey Al. Welcome
hey guys,
to the
how you
show.
doing?
Good man.
Hey.
Thank you. Nice to be
It's
here.
not even D&D night. It's a crossover resupply show.
Good. I don't have to use a high voice, and I don't have to shout all the time. I can use my normal voice.
Hashtag hello, my name is Ashia in chat.
That's right. Of course. Good on you, Heathen.
So it wasn't. It's like probably the worst kept secret ever.
Wasn't a great secret.
Not a great one, no. Hashtag second place. Hashtag never forget. So you obviously watched the show last week. And you were hanging out for the show. What were your thoughts on the overall draft? Like, how did you enjoy the show? His voice.
I enjoyed the show. I couldn't. Everything was doing really well until you started picking positions, and I just went, "You guys are wrong." You understand these guys are going to kill each other.
Some more wrong than others.
Oh yes, the person I'm replacing made a few.
There was one
glaring errors.
Oh, there's one in particular that he put, and it's not at the commander role because that one is pretty contentious, and there were some good points brought up about.
I didn't think his commander choice was contentious at all.
What the fuck is he doing? Putting one of the best ammos as a scout.
You've got to remember, he's talking about all time. Fredo, when I met Fredo, he was, which was in Gosford, I think in '97.
Yeah. I
think he was maybe 15 or 16, and he tore the place up. He, as a scout, because you had Prophet and Traj playing the 3 hits.
Yeah.
And he's an amazing scout. I hate him a lot because he's an amazing scout. I've never had the opportunity to play on his team, and when I got picked on that team, I went, "Oh, geez, that'd be really good fun to play on." But even if he was he's also an amazing ammo. In recent times, we've watched him, do a great job as ammo. I remember in one of the Oakley Nationals that he came to and played ammo. Before they had MVP points for Golden Gun and anything like that, I think he had a hit percentage in the realm of 0.01% because he literally sat in the corner and spammed the wall. Yep, just spammed the wall. and
That's awesome.
you would lose a hit every time you came in the door because he would hit you, and it worked perfectly for him. It was a well thought out tactic for that particular maze, but a pain in the ass to play against.
Yeah.
I probably would have put him as ammo for stronger positions and Dragon as the scout. I think
Right.
Dragon was a much stronger scout than he is an ammo. Not to say that wasn't a strong ammo, but that would have been the main change I would have made in that particular team.
Though he did put Freddo as
Yeah,
ammo
he
and
did.
Dragon and Scout.
Did
as
he?
I recall.
Oh, did he? No,
See-
no. Or did he switch it? Because
Hey,
he had.
We can have a look. Where's
I
Yeah,
don't remember.
let's go.
I have.
Let's go to big data.
Yeah, he's got Dragon as scout. He's got Fredo as
Oh,
ammo.
yeah.
Personally,
So
I would have
that's-
gone the other way, but you probably know Dragon a lot better than I do.
Dragon's a great scout and he's a good ammo.
Yeah.
In terms of strength of team, having Dragon with me in resupply was probably better because Fredo in his peak was a great scout
Right.
and quick. Like you're talking. I mean, a lot of us have only seen him since he's over 30, and with a few extra kegs on. When he was young and quick, but let's be honest. I mean, we've all put on some weight or lost weight
Most
around.
of us have.
Yeah, but he was quick.
Extra neck beard.
Yeah. That's why it's there.
Fredo was quick through the maze. He learnt the mazes really well. As a supporting scout, and especially in the Gosford maze, which was where I saw him first, it was a small maze, and he was able to protect both the resupply and attack the opposing resupply with the 3-hit. He was a great scout. And while Dragon can do some great things as a scout and played really well as an ammo, a stronger choice was Fredo for the scout there, supporting Prophet.
Right. Not to detract from anything that you've said, but one comment that I want to quickly bring up was Slamman said he wants an owl GPS voice.
We all do.
I would.
The roundabout, take the third exit on a straight street.
I would love that. I'd love that so much. So Traj also said that Ace was commander and Gosford and Prophet was heavy.
Ace was command.
When was that? 98.
Oh yeah, that would have been 97. Ace. See, the problem that everything to do with Brisbane's Ace, I put an asterisk against because I don't.
Here comes the controversies.
Massively. That kid is a massive cheat. We were using. Gosford had a number of helmet suits, and I watched him as a referee. He put the helmet suit on and just went dook 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 and pushed in all of the IRs. And then, strangely enough, decimated the other team. It got to the point. It got to
back
the
in
point
the day when it was so easy to just alter the IR on the suit.
But it got to the point where they'd brought some Gen 4 suits up, or Brisbane had brought some Gen 4 suits down. So I think there was 5 or 6, must have been 6 Gen 4 suits with the big shoulders. They made Ace play in one. He wore a hat and would just pull it to the side and cover his shoulder and say, "Oh, I just can't hear it." And so they turned it up so you could hear his suit through the whole maze, and he was still.
Yeah, I remember.
Asterisk against him.
I remember
Well, now we know who's not going on Al's all-time list.
There is an Ace on my all-time list, but it's not him.
we got a hangover from that. I remember in 2003, me and Nightmare used to wear hats all the time in the maze.
Yeah,
and they'd always be backwards. And I never even thought about it as a potential issue. But yeah, when we first went to Nats, I remember a bunch of you guys being like, "Oh, you can't really. You either wear it forward or you don't wear it at all, because where it's backwards, like." Just turning like that meant that the
covers your shoulder from the back.
I was like, "Fuck! I didn't even realize."
Yeah, and I was one of those people, and it was absolutely because of what Ace did. Because on the Gen 4 suits, the only thing you can shoot are the shoulders and the back and the gun. no chest
And only
sensor,
straight down the barrel on the gun too.
and only straight down the center. And if
And that
you're
IR was very easy to also conceal or bend as well, because we had a few
yeah,
members in Sacramento back in the day who used to do that type of thing too.
Right.
and you couldn't tell it was being covered because the laser went through the same hole, so it would light your finger
Mhm.
up, so it would look like the laser was shooting.
That's
Yep.
some shady shit. We
Yeah.
tolerate none of it.
No,
Um,
no.
Fortunately, the technology is advanced. You can't do it so easy anymore.
No, it's a lot, a lot harder now, which is good. It makes the game better.
Yeah. So, with the drafts, how many of the players on those lists were you actually familiar with? Were you familiar with most of them?
Most, I've heard of Ghosty, but I've never come across him because I've not played in Detroit and he's not played out of Detroit.
Mm.
But I understand he's quite a force to be reckoned with in his home side. And I didn't meet Sephiroth from Sacramento.
Yeah, nobody outside of Sacramento would have.
No, because like you said on stream, I think DK, he was supposed to come to 2002, and something happened, and that's how you got to go.
No. To 99.
Oh, 99. I'm sorry.
Passed all the way back in 98. So that it was quite a long time ago. But
Yeah.
he
Cheers.
unfortunately passed before he could come to any offsite tournament. So nobody out of
Okay.
Sacramento would have known him, and it was
And
before
then
we had any intersite competitions.
And I don't remember whether I met Flint or not when I came to Sacramento.
You wouldn't have.
2004.
You wouldn't have in 2004. He would have been too young because at the time he was only about 14 or so when we reopened in 2008. So he would have been quite young at the time. He
Primary
wasn't
school.
playing yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The blossoming phenom.
Yes.
Mhm.
Well, every site has one.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess those are the only.
And I can't remember the rest of the list because I don't have it in front of me
Oh.
because nobody told me what we were talking about, so I didn't write it down.
I tell you what. Hang on.
This is everybody in
About it,
stream.
it's fine.
This is why Than doesn't look like he's prepped every week because these two do the prepping and don't tell him what's going on.
Hang on.
It's more fun that way.
Boom.
This is our hard-hitting interview style. We don't tell the guests
Tell
what the
you what the
questions
guest-
are, then
what's
we just
going on.
ambush them.
Yeah.
All
Then
This
they're
is
like,
gotcha journalism at its finest.
Jane,
Let's have a look.
gotcha. Oh no, it's not Jane. It's Joan. Damn it, I fucked it up.
I also haven't met Thunder, but again heard incredible things about him.
That dude is like
Oh yeah, I guess not.
great.
Pretty
World of
much
Thunder.
Everybody else I have met and played against.
Right.
I keep thinking that you'd been to so many more of these tournaments that I've been to, Al, but
No,
it's only been because I came to Brisbane in both 14 and 18, and you were at both of those. But you haven't been to the States
I
since
was
before.
supposed to come to. I think I was supposed to come to the
DK
the
Angling.
Chula Vista one, I think. And
Oh no, 2010.
Yeah, I was supposed to come to that.
Really?
And yeah, and then had made a poor financial decision here at home that left me without the money, quite enough money to go.
There's always money in the banana stand. DK Angling for Wolf Blitz's job. Yeah, that would have been awesome if you were there, because then I would have had one more person to remember, but not really, because I barely remember anything that happened on that trip.
I think also because it was running directly into the Oakley Nats for that year.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have gotten back in time, like, because the guys who were coming
that's
from
right.
Chula didn't get here till the Tuesday.
Yeah, because Cookie and
Darren.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, Darren hadn't come to the States, but yeah,
Oh, no.
Cookie, I think I remember her describing literally like getting off the plane and going straight to Lasers to go play.
Yeah, and she was a wreck. And having done that once in 2002, and I like back then. I mean, yes, I had to care for Dragon because he was still had alcohol poisoning.
Oh, good lord.
Oh, he was sick.
His situation in 2002 made Wayne look like a model of sobriety from 2018.
That is accurate.
Perfect
that is
time
accurate.
for him to tune in.
Yes, I saw that. But back then we still played a Masters. So when we touched down, so we left Houston on Saturday night. Saturday morning,
Mm.
but didn't touch down in Auckland until sort of 5 o'clock Monday morning.
Mm.
And the Masters was that day. And I'd never been to Auckland before, never played the Maze. And so I didn't play them. I elected not to play the Masters.
Yeah.
I retired on my perpetual 8th place. Because I think I did 4 or 5 Masters and I came 8th every time. And I'm
It's good
okay
to
with
be
that.
consistent.
Yeah, look, that's right.
Yeah.
And I'm
Eight's
not
better than ninth.
better than sucking completely. So you have your 5 or 6 good games, and then you just average the rest of the time. That was pretty much.
And yes, smartasses, there were more than 8 players, so don't try
there
to.
was.
I mean,
There was,
it did cross my mind.
It's also no. Like the first one I did was in Oakley in '96, and we played the entire national tournament over the Easter long weekend.
Mm.
So we had a rules reading on the Friday, Good Friday, and that was 4 hours that I'm never getting back. Because this was pre the rules being translated into English, and we didn't understand them. And the Brisbane guys who came down, because they'd been playing with them and had learnt them through evolution, they knew what the rules meant, and we were all ex-zone players. So this show a shoulder shenanigans and
I didn't know you
you
were
know
a zone convert.
oh yeah. Well, I mean, I played it sidetracked. I mean, I've played in a couple of zone tournaments as well. Sorry, I'm a Laser Force player.
Yeah, that's all the time we have for today.
Hey, as long as you come around to the true religion now, it's okay.
That's right. But so this and I had a couple of guys who were again zone players from Oakley who just wanted to argue every single rule, and of course you're talking about guys, the Brisbane guys and the Townsville guys had been a part of the evolution of the rules, so they knew them, they understood them, they played with them regularly. We never used them. And so these couple of these guys just went on and couldn't get that this is what we're doing. We've changed systems. We're doing it differently. So yeah, the Masters was played on the Friday afternoon from like 2 in the afternoon until midnight. 24 games back to back. You played one game on every suit. It was awful.
Sounds awesome right now.
I mean, it was, right now, I would do. Sign me up right now. 7.5 minute games, penalties for teaming up, and
penalties for teaming up.
No, they were like it
was an individual comp.
It was an individual competition. One of the guys got a 5,000 point penalty, I think, for being on top of the tower at Brisbane and calling for a reset in Oakley and calling for a reset. Because you do. There's a reset here. And he got, like, because 10 different people heard him. Thunder? No. This was pre-Thunder playing with us. He was still playing Zone at that stage. This was Scorpion, Oakley's Scorpion, who didn't last very long. This was back in the days of
Fire had just been discovered.
Well, yes, but Starscream and
I know that.
And actually, Brett must have been playing because he was in that team, that first team, because it was literally all the good zone players. We just grabbed him and went here. And Creepy Crawley, he was another pain in the ass. He couldn't convert from zone. He very much the pop shots and all that shenanigans.
Yeah, I think
that's what I'm curious to know about how like the evolution of the Perth site is coming, since pretty much all of them are converted zone players.
I think it will possibly be a while, but when there's no crossover from their scene to the main Laser Force scene, it's very difficult. Because and it's always going to be difficult because you're talking about two completely different play styles coming together.
Mm-hmm.
I had heard a rumor that Wombat was supposed to be coming to Auckland. Was that accurate?
There were talks of like WA sending a team. I didn't hear anything direct from anyone, so they may just been like in passing comments. It would have been awesome if they did, but
It would have been great
COVID.
because that would have been an opportunity for that crossover. And I know that Beans and I think UDK were thinking of going to their tournament on the way
I
out. Was that?
thinking about it.
I know Beans
I
was.
don't know
He
that
definitely
at
was.
the time the concern was I might not have had enough time before classes resumed over in the US.
It's weird. I didn't
That
realize.
seems like a lifetime ago.
Yeah. I didn't realize how far away Perth was from Auckland. Like I just
It's
assumed.
quite far.
Oh yeah, it's the equivalent of flying to the States. I was like, it's like it's 3 hours to like Brisbane. It must only be another 2 to get to the East Coast. So sorry, the West Coast. So
It's
Australia,
4-hour
it's
flight.
like as wide as the States, pretty much.
Yeah,
so
it's like a-
cross-country flight is a while.
yeah, it's like a 9 or 10 hour flight from here, which is the equivalent of flying to LA, pretty much. And I was like, do I want to do that to go to WA? I mean, I've never been, but meh. To play in
WA is nice to visit. Once.
If I could have
can-
turned it into
once.
something, yeah.
Hoodie said the suits were still black and white back in those days.
They certainly were. They certainly were. If
well-
you were colorblind.
So, I mean, to go back to that draft, and again, because we kind of dropped you in it, but did you have any thoughts on players that you would have chosen yourself had you have been in, one of our positions?
I think that there were I mean, I would have been adding some players. I don't think that they would have made the list, but honourable mentions would have gone to people like Snookums
I've heard that name.
from Oakley.
Yeah.
He and Dragon are almost interchangeable into that, except that Dragon travelled more. Snookums, he played before. He was sort of in the same position as Dragon, but taught Dragon how to hold the Oakley maze. He taught Ducky how to do it, or Ducky watched and learned it off him. He was an amazing scout, and then ended up married to one of the players from Ballarat, Georgie, and they live in Perth somewhere, or north of Perth.
Right.
But he would be an honourable mention.
He didn't teach you
Foo?
on purpose, Ducky.
What's he saying?
He
No,
said
he didn't teach
you on purpose.
That's absolutely accurate. He didn't like the fact that Ducky learnt how to do it because it made him look older and slow. It's he didn't like that Ducky could do it just as well and then better.
Mentor was asked for a Zoom backdrop behind you, DK. Clearly, he doesn't like what you've got going on in there.
Well, that's too bad for him. He can fight me.
Mental, if you just took your trophies home rather than leaving them places, you two could have a table like DK's.
So you were saying Foo out of Brisbane?
Foo, yeah, I think Foo out of Brisbane would have to rate a mention. If you were picking a team that had resupplies, the 3 guys who were the cornerstones of
question I had.
resupply for Brisbane for their national teams for 6 or 7 years, Mortis, Juicy, War Dog. Those 3 guys in usually it was usually Juicy and Mortis or War Dog and Mortis. I don't remember seeing Mortis not go to a nationals. There was a period of 5 or 6 years that he was there every year, and they'd roll in and you're like, oh, that's their resupply.
I think I caught the tail end of that crew in 03 and then 05. I think there was a group of them that formed like a kind of like a golden oldies team.
Yeah, that would have been 05. Probably would have been
The
Mortis's last round. He came. I think he visited in 2010. And War Dog had.
None of you guys.
They both played in the
no,
09
sorry.
Nats.
Must have been 2000. When did we go to Brisbane? 2008, 2007.
That was 9. In 2009, I know they both played.
Yeah.
They weren't on the same team as I recall. I'm pretty sure War Dog was on Rusty's team and Mortis was on Trage's team.
Right.
Yeah, that's right, because they split everybody. But yeah, so that's the last time I saw Randall. Those guys were incredible as a team and as a unit. And if you were picking a resupply unit, I would have picked them into Sands' team as a resupply unit and booted me out in a heartbeat. Because as was pointed out to me by a number of my close friends,
What are
I'm an
friends for?
awfully bad medic.
you know,
and they're right. Oh, yeah.
I
I
mean,
can't help myself. I always look out.
Yeah.
And then get shot.
Stop
can't-
getting shot.
That's the number of times Paul has told me that is almost uncountable. Or you'll say I need a reset, and I'll stick my head out to see what's going on, and he'll shoot me.
Oh yeah, what the fuck did you? Yeah. So
Why did you do it? I'm like, sorry, I was looking.
Than did that to me in the last Brisbane Nationals. In 2018. I was like, give me a gun, and he sticks his gun up. I'm like, and I go to shoot, and I'm like, you're the fucking man. What are you doing?
Every
He
now and
said gun.
then, the medic goes, look, I've got 14 lives. I can lose 2 before the 4-string kills me. Sure.
Yeah,
Here's
I'll be fine. Yeah, get the reset. Go shoot
Take
the
one off
scout
me.
once.
It's fine.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, bro.
Or
Yeah.
Hoodie's gonna kill me anyway. I'd rather it come from my own team.
Yeah.
I mean, look, it is a legitimate way that Hoodie doesn't get medic kills.
See,
Just
that's,
have the hero team.
that's
kill
where I
me.
went wrong in that game. I should have just missiled Than out of the game. It would have been fine.
Oh, enjoy your medikits now, Hoodie.
Yeah.
Taipan would have loved it because he would have won medic killer.
Yeah. So yeah, I felt
What a
kind-
no-win scenario for poor Than.
I know.
I kind of felt bad for him, except not really. Like I do like how I do like how Hoodie came away with the title. I just don't like how he did it on my watch.
Well, I mean, to be fair to both Taipan and to Hoodie and to you, Taipan had set him a fairly large target to try and. I mean, what
It was
if you
like
get 11
Yeah,
to
11.
win?
I think it was
14.
11, yeah.
That is a massive
Huge.
task for
It
any
is.
one player in a game.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with a commander, because the commander's going to try and drop a 4-string and take as many as they can.
Well, some commanders.
Some commander, well, you know,
And he
a good commander, not me,
Yeah.
is going to try and drop a 4-string
Well, he was
or
just
even a
like,
3-string.
11 medic kits. Yeah. Here, hold my hit flask.
He absolutely did that. Yes.
So I mean, yeah. Who would your picks would have been from that list?
From that list, I would have had to take Rusty because it doesn't matter what position you put him in. That's not resupply.
He's still a great resupply.
That's right. But if you're putting him in what would be his best position, it doesn't matter that he's not the commander.
Mm.
He is an effective scout. He is an effective heavy weapons. He can't defend to save himself, but he doesn't need to because his attack is so aggressive that it doesn't make a difference because you have to pull everybody back, whether he's a 3-hit or not. And if he's got a good 3-hit with him, he's being well supported and he will do an amazing amount of damage to your team. I would have taken Rusty. I would have tried to take Traj. I would have tried to take probably Beast. And unfortunately for the US players, I've not played against a lot of them. I mean, Scythe is a great player, but I've only played against a small subset of players. So most of my picks would have been from Australia and New Zealand.
I think that was kind of the difficulty of the list, and part of the reason I wanted to bring you on and some of the other players like Traj or Rusty on, but they also had commitments. That's okay.
Or
What are they,
no
not
camera.
lockdown?
Yeah, you're our expert of the day.
No, they're in Queensland. Queensland's not in lockdown, just Victoria.
Yeah.
Was to get perspective on some players that I would have considered drafting, but I didn't feel comfortable doing so because I didn't have the frame of reference. Somebody like Prophet came to mind because I'd never seen them play. I'd only heard the stories.
Prophet and Traj as a 3-hit combo. So Prophet, I think Prophet in Commander and Traj in Heavy, I think they were, are the only team that I've watched in a game double missile 5 people and use all of their missiles up together.
Yeah. Well, if you're gonna do it as a team.
Well, they did. They oh geez, it was bad to watch. The poor bastards I was watching. I was reffing, and I'm just like, they did. I'm sort of leaning over the wall. They did. Oh my god, they did. And you hear it again, and you hear both of them go, and it's like, oh, they must be 3 hits against each other. Oh no, it was those guys.
Nope.
They were really, really dominant. Other guys that were fairly dominant in the in the 90s that probably don't make the list, but are worth a. Excuse me, just 1 second.
Oh, we're gonna watch Al Televis
Uh-oh.
kids.
Here comes Dad voice.
Asterix, a big old asterix.
Sorry, what did I miss?
You got the
We just saw
eyes.
Dad come out.
You got
Oh,
the
yeah.
eyes. And...
Yeah, that's Dad. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I've done that to Mental a couple of times.
Someone
too.
clip that.
So guys that probably needed to mention but wouldn't make the team: Nemesis and Sass from Townsville. I mean, Townsville, despite Brisbane wanting to put an asterisk next to it, Townsville are the only team that beat Brisbane Internationals before 2003. So
Right,
they had a
you guys-
long.
Then you guys did it.
And then no, you.
In 2003.
we-
Yeah. And then
Yeah,
that
we
happened.
did.
Yeah.
Well, but see, the problem with the asterisk in 2003 is they created their own asterisk because because they
You get
vetoed.
vetoed, and you get vetoed.
That's right,
Everybody
you
gets
know.
vetoed.
Everybody gets it when you've got 4 referees in a maze, and you've managed to piss off all 4, and make one of them cry, and one of the other 4's trying to sleep with the one that you made cry. You're not going to win, no matter what happens. And I'll accept a general asterisk for it all being at night and everybody being tired by the end of the week, because we all were.
That was a great introduction to International Space
It
Marines.
was an experiment that failed.
And
Anonymous.
see, if you wanted to push back on that, Peter, you should have taken the day off to come on the podcast. You
That's
could have
right.
argued back, but we're going to have to go with Al's version of events here. So you heard it here first.
I mean, you
Why?
should.
What did Trade say? What
Oh,
did
he didn't say anything. I'm just
Oh,
saying
okay.
if he wanted to push back on the asterisk.
Yeah.
If you want to push back on the
I mean,
asterisk.
you
don't-
should
He's not
stop
here.
using the word pushback
He
because
said, I have to go to work.
No. I mean, he would be right in saying that it should get an asterisk, because the way that the penalty was applied that took the game off them. I mean, yes, the referees had no idea, but at the same time, they lost the entire thing based on a penalty that was retroactively given.
Oh, it was so brutal.
It was like, so I don't disagree with him in him wanting to put an asterisk on it, because I agree it needs an asterisk.
Yeah.
But that was the end of their dominance, and the fact that they were, because of recency of living, etc., they weren't allowed to have Rusty on their team, and they weren't allowed, like, there were that Nationals was a mess. But getting away from that's a whole nother podcast.
The end of the
that I don't wanna
first
talk-
generation of Brisbane dominance, maybe.
Yeah, well, that's right. But it showed that they could be beaten. They've never travelled with their strongest teams because they just
Brisbane?
haven't. Yeah, Brisbane.
They've sent some
previous-
strong teams, but there are a
They-
couple of key omissions.
Yeah, that
Absolutely.
team they brought against us in 2017 was a
Sacramento.
pretty big murderers row.
Yeah, that was brutal. But
I mean, it maybe wasn't the absolute best team they could have put together, but it was a damn good team.
It was a good team, but they didn't. I mean, they had Baden.
not.
Yeah, and he smashed both of my 3 hits.
But that's my point. It's not a Brisbane team,
No, it did. Yeah.
because Baden
Yeah.
under no circumstances ever qualifies to play for Brisbane as a Brisbane player.
And
Because
yet,
Except in the
never-
US.
and yet he's
except
played
in
for
the
them,
US.
like,
Oh,
at least a half
don't
a
get me
dozen
started.
times.
He has. He's played for them in the US due to previously I played for them, rather than the rules about what site you play for have become very, very relaxed from what they were.
Oh yeah. Well, that's
And they've had to be, and that's
a
that is what
podcast
it
for
is.
like.
a whole different kettle of fish.
To
We
open
don't-
another can of
I
worms
mean,
here.
that's a Monday night DK rants kind of podcast.
but I mean, we've let it go, and because we as a larger community, and definitely the organising committee of a larger organising committee, didn't step in, and I'm talking 10, 12 years ago, and go, no, you can't play for them. You can play as a merc, but that does not mean that you play for them every time.
Yeah.
It's been allowed to happen, and you can't change it now. The decision was made, and that's it. And Baden is
It's hard when your oversight committee is also made up of the people who are playing in the tournament and who also have to maintain relationships with one another outside of the maze. It's
absolutely.
It's hard.
I absolutely agree with you. I'm not advocating for any different decision being made. Because it is what it is, and it would have making a different decision may have made whole teams not play.
Yeah, and so you do
based on hearsay. I mean, on some of the stuff I've heard.
Yeah,
and again, that is hearsay, so I don't know if it's accurate. But based on some of that, certain players wouldn't have played with certain other players, and if you didn't put them in different places away from each other, there would have been a bust up, or that whole team wouldn't have bothered attending, and that's a waste of time.
Because at the end of the day, that is what the exceptions are there to try to work around. Is if this is going to blow up the tournament or blow up a site's team, let's not get into that situation.
Absolutely.
I feel like at least the saving grace is that it hasn't completely thrown things out to super teams made up between different sites. By and large, at least in the US, I still feel like there is a trend for most sites to want to put together a homegrown competitive championship level team and to try to, bring up the talent from their own site if they possibly can.
I agree. The spirit of it has been maintained, which is why I said I don't have a problem with the fact that he's played for them. Also, when they're going to win like that, having him there, not having him there, wouldn't have made a difference. I think they still would have won, and especially when you've got Taipan and Traj and Rusty all on one team anyway,
and
Fredo,
and Fredo, when you got, but even that's that's a hard team to beat. But when Glader reaches
complaining
puberty,
about his resupply partner all week.
When Glader reaches puberty, I'm sure he'll become a good player too.
Love you, Andrew.
On your cutter.
Hashtag left out.
Don't worry, Glader. It's hard to be in Dad's shadow. Eventually, he'll die.
Blimey.
I mean, it is 2020.
This went to a dark place. You can't say that shit in 2020.
I reckon, man. Why would you do that?
I
wonder if that constitutes a threat.
A good number of the questions I had so far that was to say, who are some old school players who we might have left off? Because the element that chat kept mentioning of these teams are going to need resupply. Shouldn't you maybe take some resupply specialists? I think you dealt with that question pretty well. One thing I wanted to also kind of bring up was that a few people mentioned in chat was like, is this player good at multiple sites, or this player was really good at their home side, but they struggled outside of it. So I don't know, based on your experience, what sites players do you think had the hardest time adapting to one of their fields? And I guess like as a side effect of that, was that sort of Brisbane-Oakley rivalry of the early 2000s partly a byproduct of just not necessarily, or just like clashing styles between fields?
Absolutely. I think it was one of the good things I think about the Auckland Maze is that both teams were neutral when we played in 2006, and they sent what I would agree, I think could be agreed, it was a strong team that they sent.
Well, they had two. Oh no, that's right. Baden and Deadly both played for Wellington. That's right.
Yeah, Wellington played in that tournament with Stallion. So the Brisbane team there was Rusty, Traj.
That was before 06 then, because 06,
that was 06.
Rusty was playing.
No, 06, because that was my first one back from the UK. Because I came back from the UK, was home for 4 weeks, and went to New Zealand to play.
You're thinking 2002 DK, you played for Wellington. That was his last Wellington tournament.
Yeah.
Right, okay. That's what I thought you were saying. Okay.
No. 2002.
We're on the same page now. Okay.
2002, Brisbane didn't send a team at all to 2002, and so Oakley walked away with it. quite
Sterling
easily.
didn't play in 2006.
Yes, he did.
Is what he's saying.
Didn't you?
I don't think he
I
did.
thought
I
he-
don't think he played after like '04 when he was in the States.
Did we
Because
really?
I think '06, as I recall, was the like Brisbane Wellington hybrid team because it was Baden and Deadly teaming up with Rusty Traj. I don't remember who else was on the Brisbane team at the time.
Oh, maybe it was.
I was because I always remember you playing in Auckland in '06, Stallion, until I checked your I Play Laser Force stats out,
Oh, there you
and
go.
the last time you played anywhere out, prior to start of this year in Napier, was like '04, I think, maybe '05.
Okay, so that must have been 2002. Wow, were we calling you the immovable object in 2002? That joke has gone a long time.
It's been a long year.
been a long-
It's been a long few years for those of us here on the Resupply podcast, so bear with us, folks.
Yeah,
Our memories
Yeah.
ain't what they used to be.
but
Time.
so that
Time.
that Brisbane team,
But that team
Rusty,
was a good team.
yeah, it was.
Let's just call them Team Totem Pole.
Fuck that totem pole, man.
Look, it was a but that also showed an ability to adapt to an unfamiliar playing environment. They're used to playing where the maze is really open. I mean, you look at Brisbane before the asterisk that is now because they've taken away the underneath the shaft.
Oh, yeah.
But
you mean the mini golf course?
yeah, the new mini golf course. But they don't use particularly the maze section of their arena very much at all. It's all upstairs or mostly upstairs.
Yeah.
Where Auckland and Oakley are very much you
One
don't
plane.
go onto the towers. You know, Oakley has the towers. Auckland has that upstairs section, but you can't. We block the one hole that you can shoot out of, and you can't shoot onto the floor.
Everything's
so
linear, like it all happens.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, and so the ability to adjust for like Oakley players traditionally and consistently have not played well in Brisbane because it's having to look all around you all the time is not what we were ever used to because we didn't have to. You'd need to look behind you, in front of you, left and right. You could glance up, but really, if they were up, there were mirrors, and you would take them out of the game.
It's the same with us.
Yeah, and which is why the Oakley versus Auckland in Ballarat was so good because that maze again is the same style of maze. I would have expected that Brisbane would have done well in Sacramento because Sacramento has that, or the old Sacramento anyway, had that rather open area, and most of it was played upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
And so
that's always been the case, even
Yeah.
with the various adjustments been made to Sacramento over the years. It was a largely upstairs field.
Yeah, and so Brisbane would have been like any Brisbane team could transplant into that arena and dominate without even.
I'm aware. Thank you.
but like not just like I'm saying any team, even the Brisbane Bees or any of those teams could be transplanted into that maze and play their style of game without having to make too big an adjustment.
Mm-hmm. Welcome.
Where you couldn't take, so like Darren is a great example. He doesn't play well in Oakley, or didn't play well in Oakley. The Townsville guys were similar maze to Auckland, Ballarat, Oakley. They played really well in those mazes because it's the same type of maze. It's all one floor. Brisbane's dominance comes from their ability to adapt so well to these linear mazes.
Yeah, I mean, because you take away that extra dimension of having to think about what's coming from above you. Although with the additions to the Brisbane maze, the blue tower, the new tower, all of that has really opened up upstairs so that teams are still getting kicked down the back ramp and stuff. But I think back in the day, like, you were more often pushed downstairs, and as soon as you get pushed downstairs, anyone above you is going to just wreck you.
The addition of that blue tower, I think, was great because you could then shoot into green tower from a couple of different places. So
they blocked that up. There was like a block at.
Oh, they blocked it up again.
A platform at the end of the vortex where you could shoot.
No.
across.
So you can stand half at the bottom of the blue tower ramp and shoot through onto green tower.
Onto the back ramp.
Onto the back ramp.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if people were up in the green tower, you could definitely still hit them from there.
So
that was the fact you really had to watch if you were at the far end of green
Yeah.
tower, like away from the skywalk.
But you're
So
talking
previously-
back tower, right? Not green tower, back tower. You could shoot. So there's
where the green resupply runs
where green
to, the very
resupply
back.
Yeah.
It's the Brisbane maze. I don't know. But anyway,
back tower. That's strange.
the back tower, you used to have the resupply could almost stand on that ramp, down to the floor, and especially with the taller players, they could stand there. They didn't have to worry about squatting down, and you didn't have to do that because they couldn't be shot from anywhere except on the floor in the jail, and all you got to do is keep one eye there because nobody's down there anyway. So those changes.
Detroit's field played.
Yeah, so those changes that were made my enjoyment of the Brisbane Maze a great deal more.
Me too.
I felt I could play it much better, and I think that the Oakley teams, since the addition of the obs deck, and then the red resupply area with the death stairs, the obs. Well, when you could go onto the obs deck, so where was it 2014? They cut the obs deck in half. And they made that extra ramp across to the obs deck. So once they did that and created the two obvious resupply points, Oakley, that's the way Oakley has always played.
Yeah.
The Oakley maze was very much red base, green base, because it was a zone maze. And so having that ability to play like that meant that we adapted better. I mean, we weren't playing anymore, but we adapted better then compared to in the early 2000s when we went, where we just got decimated.
Oh, we had the same thing, but I think like the more you play there, the better you get at that arena, which makes sense because
I can't argue with that either.
Yeah. Did you have some more questions, DK? Because I have one glaring one right here. But I'll leave it to
I'm pretty sure it's the same question. So I'll ask the other less obvious question first. Is just how do you feel like the sort of the meta game, or just like the way that people play Space Marines 5 has evolved since the mid 90s up through now? Like has there been sort of just a revolution in thinking about how the game operates, how it should be played, or do you feel like it's still mostly the same?
I think a lot of it's the same. There have been some notable tactics that have been used. Steve-O's favorite totem pole, but the totem pole, the Joe Turtle defense. He did it first. Joe Extreme from Oakley, he pulled his team was weaker. He pulled them all back inside the green base and said, "Don't go out. Just shoot them when they come in." And that patience that's required by teams is really difficult because everybody wants to play. Everybody wants to get into it. I'm full of shots. I need to go and shoot some people.
Yeah.
Having that control of
that
yourself
patience.
And that patience is really difficult. And with the number of alpha type personality people who play Laser Force, that is very difficult. Even for great teams like Brisbane. I mean, you watched them in 2018, where was it Taipan's team formed a wall
in the final,
underneath the back tower, and they just sat there and did nothing.
No, that was a separate incident.
Yeah, but they had that, and Traj and Rusty's team were getting upset. And
Traj was getting upset.
Well, the team was getting upset because Traj was getting upset because they were giving points to the other team, and Scorpion was screaming abuse at his team for giving them points. Which
sounds like fan.
But
it's a certain type.
Yeah.
The wall, Glady, you're right. But that's it. They used a strong defensive tactic, and Brisbane used it against us in Oakley in that 2003 Nationals when Dave was their commander, and we made a mistake. We dropped a nuke and let them go out and get their bases, which we shouldn't have done. If we should have just held our nuke, we won by $6,000 because they didn't go out and get any bases. And that's the thing. If you a well played defense, that kind of, I mean, thank goodness that the metagame hasn't become that. It's one of the things I like about our game is that it's still, I mean, there are tweaks every tournament based on who's playing. There is always, always the 3 hits attack. They don't, in a smaller arena, you might get a double attack at the start while the scouts get a couple of resupplies. You might get, if you've got a team that is hoping to stun another team or push them out of position, they'll do something. But those tactics are used constantly by teams. They're not, we haven't all of a sudden gone to splitting resupplies, which is stupid. Like everybody agrees that's stupid.
Yeah.
But, there hasn't been major meta changes. I think there was one, Gosford, the Gosford team were really good at moving their resupply constantly.
We're hearing about them is that they would have a mobile resupply and that they would oftentimes do a 5 or 6 person rush at either the start of the game or various times of the game. Yeah. I never saw it, obviously, but that was what I heard, like the Gosford was known for.
They were, I mean, they only played in one Nationals at that Gosford site and they closed down shortly after. Probably because Ace destroyed all of their equipment. But the most teams didn't know what to do with that, and they got far further in the tournament than they probably should have, being as green as they were, because Oakley couldn't cope with the fact that they were never where we expected them to be. Ballarat definitely couldn't cope, and Brisbane were being forced to think on the fly, and were doing a good job of it.
As they do,
but they still didn't win that tournament.
We tried a similar thing in the lead up to the Ballarat 08 Nats off the back of losing in the finals in Auckland in 06. We took away all of the obvious resupply points. All the obvious resupply spots. We removed the use of upstairs, and we started training to have a semi-rolling resupply that could defend, an area with multiple entry points, and we could hold in those spots in preparation for the Ballarat Maze. It didn't really turn out so much like that. It did in a couple spots during the tournament, but for the most part, you had those 2 entry corners basically where the resupplies were put. But yeah, we thought that was something that was gonna have to happen in that particular maze. So yeah, we trained that for a long time actually.
And it's a good idea. I mean, that's another reason why Brisbane are dominant is that their resupplies are used to looking everywhere. And so they've always got their heads on a swivel and are seeing as much as they possibly can.
And they're not passive.
No. Where a lot of sites, and Oakley has definitely been guilty of it, the medic is just hiding.
Yeah.
Whereas I've not seen a Brisbane medic ever just hiding. They are always engaged in the game. And having that sixth pair of eyes makes a difference.
We did see it a little bit in Detroit last year from them. A little bit, but I think part of that was, Al was still kind of newish to the game, and I think they also had a 7th in Kodama, and so when you have like someone who's not used to the team dynamics, it kind of works out sometimes like that. But for the most part,
that was again largely an issue of personnel, not so much of theory.
Strategy.
Yeah, because you look at Detroit A, Ghost was very involved.
Oh yeah.
All the time as medic.
Yeah, so my point, not so much about that's the play style of Detroit, but rather a personnel thing. Yeah.
and that's probably what did Brisbane. I was working through all of those.
They came second.
Yeah, Brisbane lost. They lost in the grand final. It was very close. It was a
Yeah.
hard fought battle, but yeah, Detroit, they took them down.
She was
Gotta
trying
give him
not to
credit.
get pistol whipped.
Well, I mean, yeah, Striker was there, wasn't he?
Yeah, he
so
was.
she does have to be careful.
I mean, I went on holiday after the tournament with both of them, and the whole time you just like this. In Vegas. Oof, buddy. Right on. Did you want to add anything more to that, Al, or is that...
No, I don't think there's been the too long didn't read. I don't think there's been any change to the meta game particularly. No major changes.
Well,
Easy, maybe not. Super easy to compare eras, but it is fundamentally still the same game that it's been for 25 years.
You said about thankfully, those hole up in a spot and just wait. That kind of gameplay hasn't become the norm, and I think part of that is the way that our rules are set up. That it kind of deters our play style from the zone play style, where it's about base defense or about
Yeah, it's.
really
I mean, it's one of the
which is kind of awesome.
One of the things I don't like about the Space Marine 5 zone emulator. I mean, I've not played it, but that's the fact that the base is so important.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, that's a newish game style though, right? They played that at the Aussie titles last year. I think.
That was made for them.
Yeah,
I think because it uses Space Marines, but it also uses the zone aspect of defend your base.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so I mean because the bases really in Space Marines, they don't play a massive part. I mean, they give you points and points.
They don't play a massive part until a few people start missing them.
That's right. Yeah, but they don't. It's not like we have to defend the base at all costs.
Right.
Yeah.
No.
Whereas from what I hear in zone, like the base defense is everything.
The bases are worth lots of points. There used to be 2,000 or 5,000 points if you got the kill, and you lose 400 points if you get denied.
Brutal.
yeah, it was bad.
I think I've got the most important question.
I think we both had our list, but you ask it.
No, you go ahead, DK. It's your birthday. Happy birthday.
Okay. All right. Wow. What a treat.
Yeah.
So the question everybody wants to know after last week is, of those three teams, who would win?
Oh. Well, I've got to say, DK's team would not win.
Yeah. It's because it's got me and him on it.
No. Because
That's what happens when you draft yourself, kids.
It's got no resupply, really, unless Flint's a good resupply.
Take that personally. I resupplied for you, buddy. I'm not giving you shots ever again.
No. But you got to by resupply. I mean a combination, not a single person.
True.
So because that's what a resupply is.
All right, Trad, you're off the team. Go give me Muzz.
Trad is an okay resupply, but not. He's an attacking player, and you're talking about drafting him at his best, not as an old broken man like he is now playing resupply.
That was the tough thing when it came to assigning a position.
And also, Mental and Taipan and Traj don't like each other.
Oh yeah, I'm not suggesting there was any chemistry mix. So if you're taking everybody at their peak, you also have to. If we have to factor in personalities, my team wouldn't make it out of the armory.
Fuck then.
No, you would get through. You would get through if they continued to win, they'd be fine. But the first game they lost, the whole thing would fall apart like a house of cards. There's no two ways about it. I really do think that there's a good chance that Steve-O's team takes it.
I mean, if you're taking in consideration like personality conflicts, Than's team win by default.
I was gonna say, because Baden, Scythe, and Micro would not be a good mix to put together either.
It's like...
Well, see, not having seen those guys interact, but at least and really, you put Jared as a medic. Come on.
But I mean, like, so
Come
based
on.
on that, my whole
Isn't-
team, attacking wise, are insane.
Oh, absolutely.
From a defensive perspective, it's a little bit harder, because
Because there isn't anybody who can actually pay a lot of defense except for Baden there.
Yes, Virus actually surprisingly was pretty good at
He is.
defense.
That's to be fair. Was a good defender.
Um,
And King can defend too if you're subbing him in. As I said, I don't know micro at all, so
Scythe playing
I
scout.
can't come out as him as a player.
Scythe was a really good scout.
Yeah,
Scythe
He's
was
a really good
Scythe
scout.
would prefer to play scout. He just doesn't get to most of the time because his sight. So I was like, we need you at 3-hit.
Yeah.
We need you at 3-hit. We need you at one of the 3-hit rolls.
Yeah, but with
Yeah.
that, like, you could
Yeah.
change him and micro out pretty easily, I think.
Okay.
But
Is
then with Hoodie and Jared, like, fairly interchangeable as scouts, because they're both pretty damn good at that role.
They are. They have different focuses.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, Hoodie is all about the medic teleporter,
Yeah,
and with every team that he's playing against, he would see DK's hair and he'd see the shine off my head, and we'd be dead. So, in that aspect, Hoodie's got his work. We might as well just feed him the kills because he's got it. I think in terms of working together, Than's team is really the only team that could work together. But you're talking again about Fredo at his peak, and he had a tendency to be an annoying shit.
I mean, what do you mean
At his
had?
peak. Oh, this is nothing.
I get that past tense out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah. At his peak, he was like nothing compared to what he's mellow now. Way mellow now.
Yeah. He's like a grizzled old sour
Ranger.
patch.
Yes. He is.
Now, yeah.
Now he's
Yeah.
a grumpy old man like the rest of us.
Yeah.
He is, but at his peak, he was just as alpha personality as Rusty at his annoyingest.
Oh, three.
And Rusty's annoyingest is not his peak. He peaked after he took a breath and went, you know what? I don't need to be a dick. I went to a Midnight to Dawn. Judicator and I flew up to Brisbane for a Midnight to Dawn, just for the night.
Awesome.
And because Rusty is a great player, he swanned in and played the diva to a T, and was a dick. And his team didn't win, I don't think, which was funny. But he wasn't his best when he was being a dick. Within a couple of years, he had just gained that maturity, and that's when I think he hit his stride and was very much a stronger player and far more dominant a player. Yeah, and this, I'm talking from 2007 onwards, I would say, is Rusty's dominant time. And he's not really dropping off yet. Still.
No,
People are catching him,
Yeah.
but he's not. His skills are not dropping at the moment.
Yeah.
It's coming. He's going to hit 35 soon.
I think he's.
Or is
He's
he
already
35?
past
Or is
that.
he-
Yeah,
oh, in that case,
he's the,
in that case, he's going to
Because
hit 40
I'm about
soon.
to pass out of 35, and Rusty's a
Oh, I
year older than me.
Okay, yeah. So he'll hit 40 soon, and then he might notice a dip. But his skills are still amazing. So having him at his peak, that being that period of time, Fredo at his peak, Prophet at his peak, it doesn't, to me, it doesn't really matter what else you do in that team.
So look
And-
at Al
and I'm-
picking his
and
own
I'm-
team. What a dick.
What a jerk.
No. I'm picking my own team because you guys didn't think about a resupply. You went, who's the best players? I'll just pick the best players. I'll have all the best players on
That
my
was
team.
the point
That
of the
was the
draft.
point.
That was the point of the draft.
No, but
People didn't bring in this position thing till after we already started picking the teams.
Well,
the
so,
thing is, if you're going to pick a team, you have to pick a team.
so here's the thing.
And let me use basketball. The LA Clippers picked themselves some best players in Kawhi
That
Leonard
definitely
and Paul George.
assuaged my pain of watching the Celtics lose the first two games of the Heat series. Is, you know what? We made the conference finals. We didn't mortgage our entire future
That's
to
right.
bring in new players and then shit the bed in the semifinals.
But that's the same thing. When you're picking a team doesn't necessarily have 16 superstars on it. Or in this case, 3, 4, 5 superstars on it, because all of those superstars have an alpha personality.
Yeah,
and you're
Needs a base.
never going to get those guys to agree if they're losing.
You need a couple of
If they're-
bottoms is what you need.
You do need a couple of bottoms.
Yeah.
You need some cool heads. You need some people who know how to manage the talent.
Cool heads. This guy.
Yeah. You need to know how to direct their inability to accept their own losses and focus it elsewhere rather than focusing on the rest of the team.
So when we prior to the draft last week, I sent a message to both DK and Than, and I said, "Are we picking based on? Are we picking for positions?" And I was told no. We're picking best of all time. But
the thing is, if you're picking a best of all time, you
Yeah.
sit there and you go, "Here is the top 10 all-time players." There's the top 10, but you picked them in teams.
Dan's finished. We could bring him in. I mean, if he wants to. Dan, if you're around, if you want to jump in, like, put a
Hop on if
message
you
up.
feel
might
like
as
it.
well- You might as well come in, man. This is your show too. Although I'm gonna have to play with the stream labels a little bit, but fuck it, whatever.
Just take me out, put him in, and then you can.
Yeah. It's easy. Like we have the cameras.
Right.
You guys will just be
Hey.
named wrong.
Oh wow, that's right.
I mean, we've been going almost an hour and a half anyway.
Yeah. You suddenly feel like you've been manipulated by Alpha.
Mental.
Yes.
That is 100% correct. I have managed you very carefully over 20 years.
But I mean, like I've been doing the same with a bunch of my players. You just gotta, and I'm pretty sure Than's been doing it to everyone. He's like a puppet master.
He wishes.
I mean, Than, if you want to jump in, because I got to take piss anyway. But we could bring you in. But
Damn hydrate bot.
oh, it's fucking wanker. It does kind of lead well into what I was gonna talk next was what that pod kind of opens up for some upcoming ones, and because we had some people ask about that very thing. You guys should do a draft where you draft for positions instead of overall talent.
That'd be a different set of 3 teams.
It would be.
I would be very interested. I will be watching that.
We'll do that at some point. We got to spread this quality content over a long period of time.
Yeah. We gotta put some trash in there in the meantime.
A couple of other ones that I had asked about, or I had people ask me about, was, and I think I mentioned this last night to you guys, but it was a draft where you draft the best up and coming players, which was an idea, which I have some reservations about doing that, because it was asked of me of some newer guys who were like, I don't know any of these old people that you're talking about. Could you guys do one based on up and coming talent? And I said the problem with doing that is it's really hard to know, because most of those players would have only played 1 to 2 tournaments, if that. So yeah, I think that one's kind of hard to draft on. And you get to really
Could make for an interesting topic. Yeah, I don't know if we could do a full draft. It'd be an interesting topic.
Yeah.
For that one, you definitely can't give me shit if I put myself on the list, because I'm not up and coming anymore.
But if you do an up and coming one, you do it. You don't do it as a draft. You say these are people that here are 10 people, guys, girls, that we think have potential within the next 5 years to be dominant.
Yeah. But then I think, again, it comes back to how well do you know the newer players at each site? And me personally, I don't know. Like, I could talk on the up and coming players from my site, because there's a few of them that have started to play really well, including some of the ones that asked me about doing that podcast as a topic. which self-serving, but whatever, who cares?
Just give
It's
him a
our
shout
show.
out. They'll
We
be
do what
okay.
we want.
The only thing that manipulates Hoodie is his drinking schedule. Dan Murphy opening times. Another idea was to do the next best player, so removing all the ones that we selected from that discussion. Who are the next?
That'd be a lot harder.
Yeah, it would
That'd be a lot harder.
There's a large pool that you would draw from there. That's a
Massive.
really large pool.
Yeah, and I think what happens with some of the best players is it's pretty clear who should be in that top 10 at the very least. Top 15 is kind of easy. The next, if you take out all the people from those teams and you build another team, another 3 teams of 7, the possibilities are vast and wide.
Mm-hmm.
So that was another idea, and then the other one was the draft on positions, which I think is probably a easier one to do, but still a difficult one to do. Well,
part of the reason that we wanted to do peak value was so we could avoid the potential butt hurt of doing current rankings. Who are the best players right now?
Yeah.
I'll tell you who's definitely better than this other person coming right up after the break. See, that's how you do a
That's how you
segue,
do
Steve.
it. Yeah.
One way you could do that though is have 5 people picking or 6 people picking, because then you're definitely getting into that larger pool, and then you've got to make decisions. Do I want to take Tom, or do I blow this because I need an ammo later, or do I pick somebody else instead because I desperately need Rusty as a scout, or Rusty as a commander, or Taipan as a commander.
Sorry to step away. We're gonna add Than into the conversation.
Oh, nice.
So I'm gonna go to be right back. I'm gonna quickly urinate, and then we'll be back. We'll be back with Than. So we'll be back in
Fuck you, hydrate bot.
Yeah, we'll be back in 2 minutes. Stick around, and we'll give old man Than some shit for the next sort of 10 minutes or so.
Nah.
We will be right back. Boom. Boom, look at that. Oh, spinny wheel. We were close. We were close to being onto it. Hang on, I'll change that real quick. Hey, Tham, what's up, dog?
Finish the family D&D game, and it was like, oh, you fuckers look like you're still talking and probably going to be talking for a while, so maybe I should join. So
hey,
you
I'm
guys
Spinny Wheel.
Oh,
That's Spinny Wheel.
I figure you guys want to give me as much shit as possible, so why not?
Mean, we do that, but it's better when we do it and you can't retort. We'll just talk shit about you so you can hear but can't say anything. Can't defend yourself.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
look, we were sort of nearing a natural conclusion, but you might as well join us for the last bit of this pod, and we, it might stretch out. Who knows? Than with the beanie to make all hair jokes impossible. I mean, just throw them in chat. Full rotation. I don't know. I missed a lot. I went to the bathroom and now I don't know what's going on.
You never know what's going on. How is that
I think
different?
the idea of doing, like, if you had to have a team that you're drafting for a full rotation tournament, like, was that Oakley in 03 where you did full rotation? Okay. Yeah, if you were playing a format like that, how would your team construction differ?
Change.
So that would be another idea.
Guys, that's just so fucking much admin work, though. I feel like it only really worked in 03 because there were only 4 teams. I feel like as you add teams, it just gets exponentially more and more difficult to make sure that it actually does what it's supposed to. In 03, yes, there were only 4 teams.
Yep, 2 Oakley, 1 Brisbane, and you guys. Wellington didn't come, and Ballarat didn't come because
which we did that in 1 or 2 of the Sacramento leagues that I ran that also had only 4 teams, and I think there was only 1 screw up the entire tournament where somebody didn't abide by their rotation properly. But it was interesting running it that way.
We fucked it up. We were clearly the worst team in the tournament. We fucked it up, and then our best player got busted to medic for a full round, and it was it made a terrible format even worse for us.
Yeah. But at least you didn't have to ref because you got vetoed.
Yeah, well, back in those days, like, I'm not sure how much help I would have been as a ref anyway.
I'm not sure how helpful you are now as a ref.
Fuck you, man.
Jeez. Bring him in, spit and fire immediately.
Right. No, we're ending the stream. God damn it, fuck this guy.
Hey, man, I got 90 fucking minutes to make up for in like 15 or 20, so...
You think you're getting that amount of time? I don't think so, son.
No, I really don't, so we're good.
Yeah, it was tough, because I'd been playing... When it was July, we played that tournament. I've been playing since April. Prior to that, so...
It's a pretty quick entry into the deep end, yeah.
Oh yeah, they're like, yeah, sweet, we're gonna play like a format of a tournament that we've never tried before. Go nuts.
Because I'd at least played for 2 years and played a few leagues before we had any intersite comps that I went to back in Sacramento, so I had a slight idea of what was going on.
Very slight. We all had a very slight idea of what was going on. None of us really knew what the fuck we were doing. We thought we did, but we were sadly fucking mistaken.
Oh, the arrogance
of youth. The arrogance of youth and the arrogance of not being exposed to anybody better.
Yeah, and then Nite and Rusty taught us the true nature of the Force.
Nite, Rusty Dragon, and 3 fucking Muppets. And yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. No, one of those Muppets, Jeff's brother.
I don't fucking know.
He was cool. I liked him.
I always just describe him as a mop, a broom, and a dustpan because I feel like that's all you needed.
Honestly, 2002, I have very, very, very little memory of that entire week.
Because you stayed up for 52 hours consecutively.
To start it,
messes with your brain, man.
That didn't help, but I mean, overall, like the things that I remember about that week, I do remember the 52-hour stay up and doing the Darklight tournament, which was probably the most fun I had that week. I do remember the suits sucking absolute balls. I do remember having an absolute fucking mental breakdown, which was super fucking fun. And I remember, Darren managing to not vomit in the rental van, which was really nice of him because if he'd vomited in the rental van, that would have sucked. And I remember both Starkiller and Captain Howdy just not coming, so that we had to shell out a whole bunch of fucking money so that I could rent the van and be able to drive it. Adam, I'm not too pissed about. Starkiller, I'm not pissed about. That was a good reason. Captain Howdy, I'm still pissed to this day because he just didn't fucking show up. Because he was supposed to play with the Australians and came with this bullshit excuse of, oh, well, I really wanted to play with Sacramento. If you'd fucking said that, we would have made it happen. I would have fucking played with him.
Hey, Than, can I interest you in a Monday evening rant pod?
Maybe we call it Monday's soapbox.
Oh yeah, we'll figure something.
It'll
out.
just be a rotating cast, so
Yeah.
that way I don't have to put together content.
You
every
know
week.
what I hate?
You know what really
Anyway.
grinds my gears?
Sorry.
Nice to
Anyway,
have you
moving
here.
on.
Pillar of positivity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just quickly,
I-
Orange, show off from the start, mate. I don't care about your work situation. Put all of that off for the resupply.
VOD for a reason.
I do want to take advantage of the amount of people that are in chat at the moment. If you guys could do us a favor, we're all about community here on the resupply. Do us a favor and vote for our boys, These Four Walls. These Four Walls, second house band for the resupply.
That's fair.
Yeah. Even if you're overseas, it does ask you to put in a cell phone number to register to vote. If there's one vote that you want to make this year, this is the most important one. Go vote for some of their songs for the Rock 2000 local radio station here in New Zealand.
I feel like given events in the U.S. today, that was in very poor taste, Steve.
Yeah.
Look, not everything in America is relevant for the rest of the world.
You
Although
say
this
that
one's
now.
this one's a pretty
Anyway.
big one.
You say that now.
Go give the boys a vote. It would be really awesome if you could do it. Help them out. If you have to fudge a phone number, just put 021 and then 6 more random numbers. It'll be fine. It'll work. Yeah, help the boys out. Yeah. But Dan, how did you enjoy today? I mean, have you listened to the whole pod, or you know?
No. Okay. So again. pulling the
DK, what's
curtain
your
back
problem?
for everybody? Fucking
We
DK.
clearly ran out of our hard-hitting journalism questions.
I got
right
lost.
there.
I distracted myself with my own segue, and they got lost. I dug myself into a
Ruined
hole.
your segue.
Anyway, so
Fuck all y'all.
when I'm not here every 2 weeks and I'm playing my family D&D game, the stream's muted. I'm not listening to you idiots talk because I hear enough of you
Smart.
talk on a regular basis.
Smart.
But I am watching chat so that if any weird random bullshit happens that needs to be moderated, I can, because we have had that happen a couple times where we've had bots come in and do stupid shit, and obviously Steve-O and DK at that moment are paying attention to other things, and I can usually catch it faster.
Yeah.
Yeah, ban that
so-
hydrate bot guy. That guy sucks.
Yeah, so I have no fucking clue what you guys are talking about, bar what I can kind of glean from people's reactions in chat, which wasn't necessarily super helpful today, but it's a thing. So.
Thanks, Muzz. Cheers. And you, Tucker. Appreciate it.
These assholes.
Yeah. So I mean, I would say those upcoming podcasts or that draft is probably a good one that we can do at some point. And there's the potential there to maybe involve some other people. We'll see what happens. There's 4 hydrate bots in there, 5 hydrate bots in there. Cheers.
Yeah, just
Ban.
I mean, it definitely getting some other opinions that aren't ours, is never a bad thing. It's
Especially from grizzled players like Night Owl or
Not that grizzled, mate.
Actually, that's one thing I wanted to ask. When do you think your peak was?
My peak.
Or is?
Yeah, my peak is gone now. Look, I think my peak was probably from 97 through to maybe 2003, 2004.
That's a pretty good
Probably.
peak.
I mean, you got to. It's easy to have it as a peak because there weren't a lot of players. I mean, but my peak was still never like I have no illusions about being the best player at Oakley at any stage. Like I was at no stage the best player at Oakley. There was always somebody, at least one person better than me, often multiple players better than me. But in terms of peak ability to play and peak ability to look at the game and adjust my game in a nationals to match what's coming at me, those were the periods of time that I was at my best. Beyond that, you once you hit a certain age, life intrudes, and you can't, when you're preparing to go to nationals and when you're preparing to play games, there's often other things like, have we paid for all the accommodation? Have we paid for the car? Have we booked accommodation for the right dates? Have we, all of these things that, especially when you travel away, you spend so much time focusing on that and just wrangling people to get them there.
Yeah.
And then
herding cats is
herding
a
cats.
thing.
Wrangling people to get them there. If you're taking more than one team, making sure that who's paying for it.
Ethan, have you booked G&D's hospital bed?
That's gold.
Oh, I mean,
Yep.
you're not wrong.
I mean,
you make sure that Steve-O has got his up-to-date travel insurance. But these things that you spend all of your time planning for, you don't spend as much time thinking about what you're going to do when you get there. Like we used to sit down with map mazes and map out.
yeah.
I mean, calling them different things. Now we resort to the same things every time because it's just easier. But
Balls
for a long time,
shaft.
look,
Yeah,
we
if we were
were
drafting players based on their ability to name places in a maze, I would definitely take the Oakley players first.
we had some really good ones for a couple of mazes. I mean,
I enjoyed your ones in 2002 where it was all fast food restaurants from the States.
Yes, that was one of my better ones. I liked that one. But that kind of strategic thinking, I didn't have as much time to do because the organizational stuff and also back in that period of time, Traj was the organizer of the tournament. From sort of 2000, certainly the Oakley tournaments, 2000, 2003, and then onwards, Traj took a backwards seat in terms of organizing, and so I had a far larger role, and it made it even more difficult to concentrate on other things. I mean, the amount of time that I've spent on fixtures and things like that, and like people don't understand when you're trying to fit as many games as you can into a week, and then you roll in on the Sunday, and the site manager goes, "Oh, by the way, Wednesday afternoon we've got a 2-hour booking,"
and you go, "What the fuck?"
Yeah,
Yeah, I think we've all been there,
and we've all been there. But when you're
Yes,
trying to get that stuff, when that is your focus, you don't spend as much time focused on your game.
Yeah,
and on the
That
game.
is
So
100%. Yep.
so that's why I would say my peak was prior to that. And as you get older, your reactions are not fast enough.
Yeah, it sucks.
And certainly now, my reactions are not fast enough anymore. I wish they were, but they're just not.
I wish I had like my game knowledge from now with the shape that I was in 2005, let's say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the stamina that I had back then to, we could easily drink all night, play all day, rinse and repeat for 5 days, and it was fine. Now, when we were in Sacramento and Virus was with us, his expectation was we were going to do that. We were going to get shit-faced every night, get up and play. And he was like, "What's going on? Like, we haven't partied once all week. We had." I was like, "I'm sorry, man. I can't do it. I have to sleep.
I'm tired, bro."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although that was different because we were playing midday to midnight. Then we would record the podcast because that was the early days of the pod. And then I would go home and I would cut the podcast, spend another hour cutting the podcast.
Yeah, that was definitely some rough scheduling because yeah, you get done playing. Most everybody else would just be like, peace out. We'd stay to do the podcast with maybe one or two other guests.
No, we had a few.
That would be
The whole
Sacramento's
round table
roundtable.
most nights.
yeah. But I mean, but I mean, the vast majority of people got to fuck off when the day ended. Us not so much. We did the thing, which was very cool. But then the Airbnb that we
like
were staying at was
yeah, you guys were in the ass end of nowhere. I have no idea why you booked that place.
My fault.
Idiot.
See, kids, another thing about when you're booking accommodation is knowing how to get there and how long it's going to take you to get back.
I was trying to be helpful and find like a cool place, like it was big enough for everyone. Never ever get the person that's never lived in Sacramento to book the accommodation. That's a terrible idea.
To be fair, you can also put some of this on me because you sent me the place. I knew it was in Orangeville, but which for those of you keeping track at home with your Dakota Rings is a suburb of Sacramento, and where it was based on like having lived there, it's like okay, so it's Hazel to Madison to Fair Oaks to the center. It was all main streets to get from point A to point B, basically.
Yeah, and you just had to be on each of them for like 10 kilometers.
and I figured based at the times that we were going to be traveling, it's like, yeah, okay, it'll be fine. And it was not as fine as I thought it was going to be. So in hindsight, it was not as good of a place as it could have been. It was a very cool place.
Yeah.
But yeah,
if it was 15 minutes closer to site, it would have been perfect.
Yeah, because yeah, we ended up with that basically hour worth of transit every day to from,
which meant going home during the day was not doable. Like
not even a little bit.
Muzz, you're right. Best part of Nats come together every night. And that's part of what makes Brisbane such a good location, because they have that holiday park that's reasonably close to site.
Good times.
So good. And
good times. I like that place.
It was the same thing with Ballarat. They had a holiday park, which I think was, from my memory, one of the first kind of experiences of people all staying in the same place. So that was awesome.
We did it in Townsville. With the two of the three traveling teams were staying in cabins next to each other.
You're right.
And that was interesting.
Well, we had one of the rooms, because that was back in the early days of stats gathering in Ballarat.
Oh, dude, no, God, no. So for those of you in chat that are watching this that haven't been playing for ages and we're not in Ballarat, the one thing you have to understand about when we did the tournament in Ballarat, it was basically right about the point that the Windows software had been released. It was like very, very new at that point. And funnily enough, when LaserForce did the software at that time, the only scorecards that were completely done were the standard scorecards.
Yeah.
Everything else did not have the detailed stats that you expect from scorecards. Like, there was nothing. So in our infinite wisdom, and this was a group infinite wisdom thing, the idea was hatched of, yes, Al, this is Al's fault. The infinite wisdom was, hey, we'll get a camera, we'll record
like
the scoreboard.
Camcorder too.
Where's my digital camera?
Yeah.
It's all still available on YouTube, by the way. You can go watch these vids now.
Yeah.
And we will count the medic hits manually so that we can do medic killer. In hindsight, this was fucking stupid.
Just give
This
Hoodie the trophy
was-
and fuck off and go to bed.
Yeah, this was
Would have been my solution.
this was possibly one of the worst ideas that we have ever had. Not for the recording the games. The recording the games part, that was awesome. Being able to have those to watch back and be able to put on YouTube, cool. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was kind of the whole start of actually recording and not streaming, but the idea of something like that, kind of where it first came from.
But the idea that we would then watch back all the games from that day to count medic hits was, in hindsight, a completely asinine idea. The only reason that we were even able to do this is because it was a combination of a couple of things. One, a ridiculous amount of people had brought laptops to, share porn. Because that's what happened.
That's
with
what
all
happened
the laptops.
one day.
That was pretty. This was in the days before porn was easily available, kids. So people had their porn downloaded and they shared it. It was pretty fantastic.
Back when you just had to find shapely rocks to look at.
Yeah, pretty much. So there was that, and
Ooh, that piece of slate.
Yappy had, for some reason, probably to take porn from everybody, brought his external hard drive. So we were able to dump all the files out to his hard drive and share them between everybody with laptops. And then it became a 2-person job to watch each game back and count. Because if just one person, like with the scrolling, you would miss stuff. So you'd have 2 people watching so that you could actually make sure that your count was right. And this took, if a game goes to time, obviously it's... game goes to time, it's 15 minutes. And you're like, sweet, yeah, we can get this done. No, there's no such thing as rewatching a game in 15 minutes for medikits, because you end up having to pause, get the count, make sure you haven't double counted all this shit. It was literally anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes per game to get the medikit counts. So when I say this was one of the dumbest things that we have ever done, I am not exaggerating, because the amount of socialization time that we lost because we were doing this. Now, granted, we were still all talking shit here because
that guy.
Because for the most part, we were in the same room doing this, and so there was still some shit talking going on, as you do. But yeah, the amount of time that we kind of lost each night for the socialization and the drinking was so ridiculous. We should have just gone, nah, we're not fucking doing Medic Killer this year, but we wanted to do Medic Killer, and that was the only fucking reason we did it.
I was outside kicking the ball around. That's what I was up to. It was great fun.
Yeah. Okay, so I admit I've had a couple of poor ideas that we've run with.
I think it was a great
mats.
idea. Oh, fuck the rotating nets.
I mean, honestly, the idea itself wasn't terrible, and again,
we know it's all right.
Well, no, and the only reason that I'm saying in hindsight it wasn't completely a waste was that it was the initial thing of recording games and posting them. Like that piece of it was fucking amazing
that got started.
For starting that and for posterity and all that. Yeah, the counting the medikits portion of it, honestly, if we'd been smart, which we're not, we should have just, after the first day, gone, nah, fuck it, we're not doing this. We are abandoning this, and just been able to have,
I would probably append to that when we still had the manual calculation for MVP points in 2011. That was not great. We lost a lot of socialization time that week, which was a real shame, because the parts of that week where I did socialize people was one of the best tournaments ever. But Fan was not pleasant to be around by the end of that week, because he'd been sitting behind the computer trying to manually calculate how many MVP points everybody had all week.
No, let's be clear. I was vastly less pleasant to be around than I normally am. So take my normal, already irritated self and multiply it by a order of magnitude, and that with me in 2011, it was not good at all. But
But we learned from all of these experiences, and now we have the wonderful data collection and video repository that we have now.
Well, and again, the net positive from how fucked up 2011 was with that was that literally was the driving thing that ended up being, we need something to more efficiently gather the scorecard information.
Yep.
And that became, and then Renzer from Sacramento
Parser.
basically
The
created
parser.
the parser for us. So
And now we have TDFs, and it's all good.
yeah,
Parser.
so without 2011 being so fucking terrible, maybe the parser doesn't happen when it does. So again, net positive benefit to the community, but oh my god. And yes, Soul, occasionally I am pleasant to be around, just not very often, and definitely not with you.
So Autumn, I think. Well, firstly, thanks for the follow. Secondly, I think those ads are tailored. So.
I mean, I don't want to know what that was about.
She was asking why the ad that was playing before she came in was a condom ad.
Yeah, that face right there. If you got him, DK face in chat. All right. Well, look. Do we have anything else that we want to talk about before we disappear?
I
don't know about 2 hours.
I don't want to get into a lot of detail on it because we have been going for almost 2 hours. Yeah. Probably in the next couple of weeks, since we have both the Auckland Tri-Center tournament coming up, and we are about a month out from the St. George Invitational tournament in the States, and we have some challenges of trying to organize that with the lovely pandemic that we've been having here. We're probably going to discuss that in a fair amount of detail in the coming weeks, and good chance we'll probably get somebody, Tandor or Thunder, or maybe both of them, to come on the pod, and we'll have a little discussion about how we keep everybody safe and healthy playing laser tag in the age of COVID.
Yeah, I mean, it's less of a thing here. We're obviously a much more fortunate space than most others, and even then we had a little bit of a resurgence. It's tapered off just due to some
resurgence.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, look,
really,
people dying is people dying. It sucks. But
you had cases. Oh wait, you did have one death. Never mind.
Yeah, we did.
But you had. But you had like 20 odd cases.
Yeah, but still,
so,
it's
amazing what happens when you nip it in the bud early and
again
actually do some things.
Far more fortunate than others.
Yeah.
But we're pretty lucky here, and I think unless something dumb happens, we should be fairly safe at our triple threat torn.
He's talking to you, Heathen, about something dumb. Just pointing out.
Yeah, just. Yeah, you've been warned, mate. The St. George tournament for me is a little more concerning, but again, we can tackle that when we talk to the boys about it. I know that there's a lot of people that got reservations about it. But yeah,
the U.S. now is managed risk of one kind or another, so it's just a question of how are we minimizing it.
But yay, football's back. Yeah. But look, I think we're gonna do shows based around both of those tournaments. Obviously, we'll look at doing another draft at some point because
they're fun.
They're fun, and if you've got a good idea, go back to the well. Milk that cow for all it's worth.
Smash that subscribe button.
Yeah. Vote for these 4 wars on the rock for. But yeah, so we'll bring up those subjects over the next little while. We don't have any D&D tomorrow, but we do have it next week. Maybe we'll play some Jackbox tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, next week D&D should probably be the exciting conclusion of this part of the story arc. So,
ooh.
TPK. Wait, I don't want that.
What do you mean? I've got some books to open. It's fine.
Yes. Yes.
Heathen, So Heathen is making a request that Al be on next time we do this. So
That means that we need. I mean, if we're doing a positional tournament, I suppose that opens it up a little bit more. There's more players technically to choose from. So maybe we work it as a 21 person 21. That's
28.
Right, 28. 28 person draft. We'll see. We really enjoy having Al come and hang out with us. And
We do.
I like hanging out with you guys. It's good fun.
I take it for granted because over the last 6 months we've been doing a lot,
We have.
which is awesome.
Yeah.
Silver lining of the pandemic.
That's right.
Is
Yeah. It is.
I've been probably closer
often.
friends with my overseas friends than I have with people that I used to see on a weekly basis here in the States.
Which has been pretty awesome. This week we have we should have Laser Force live again. Hopefully with more players that are turning up. We'll see. Thunderdome Thursday is back next week. I haven't figured out what we're gonna play yet. I'm gonna put up a poll probably tomorrow.
Or what day?
It'll be Thursday. Motherfuckers, we've had 10 shows. We've had 10 shows. Out of those 10, 3 of them were on different days. And it happened to be the first 2. And then the third one was for family reasons. So
Yeah, good reason.
fuck
Good
all
reason.
y'all. But yeah, we'll be back on Thursday. Last Thursday was so much fucking fun. Worms is excellent to play on stream. If you haven't watched it, go back and watch the VOD because it's great. And then yeah, we'll be back with the Resupply next weekend along with D&D. So keep these streams coming. I freaking love them, man. Freaking love them.
it's good fun.
Did you guys
Watch
want
out, of course, for Soapbox Mondays. That'll be coming.
yeah. And
I feel like Soapbox Mondays. I mean, we're already kind of a niche stream as it is. I feel like Soapbox Mondays becomes a niche of a niche at that point. So
you wait till we do the GPS programming with Al. I can't wait to market that as a Resupply product. Shill.
Yeah.
Thank you, Al, for coming and join us. It's
That's
always
my
a pleasure
pleasure.
when you're here.
Thanks, we love you.
yeah,
no
thanks.
worries.
Thanks for being the bald guy on the pod while I was playing.
It is
D&D.
my pleasure to represent those with a extremely large forehead.
A 5 head, if you will. Don't worry, because your Resupply hats will hopefully be with you in the next 6 months.
It's a race between my Josh and the Jet Noise stuff and my Resupply stuff.
Oh yeah, are you
It's
guys
a race.
Are you guys still on sale for that stuff then?
Yeah, so because obviously with the COVID and not playing shows, shockingly we have merch that's at my house that I would rather it be with people. So we've put all of our shirts and physical CDs on sale. So if you're interested in picking up some Josh and the Jet Noise merch, head over to joshandthejetnoise.com and do a thing.
We should set up a shortcut for it.
Yeah, since Al was not nice enough to order some stuff, it actually meant I could fix a bug with the shipping for Australia.
Oh,
So here's the thing. People overseas, yes, I am going to charge you shipping for stuff. I'm sorry, I have to. However, I don't charge you what it actually costs me. I do actually lose some money on the shipping.
That seems like good business sense.
Well, it's one of those things where I would rather take a little bit of a loss personally and have things in people's hands than have it sitting in my house. I mean, I can't eat the whole shipping cost, but I can eat some of it. And so, it's
And if we buy stuff, he gets to eat.
Quick, buy all
honestly,
products to bring.
honestly, fortunately, I am not in that scary situation that some of our musician friends here are in. That when everything went to hell, they lost their primary income stream. having said that, I do like it when people buy our stuff, and I do like it, when people buy our stuff and they get it and they send us, pictures of them wearing it, so I can put it on our social media. Hint, 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 hint. So if y'all motherfuckers want to buy some shit and then take pictures of yourselves wearing it and send it to me so I can, use it for our social media, that would be fucking awesome. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
As soon as I can fit my shirt again, coming right at you. Stupid COVID. Yeah, it's always nice when your creative endeavors are in the hands of other people to enjoy, and they do enjoy it, which is nice. But that'll there we go. Good work, Dan.
Yeah.
That'll do us for this week, I think. We'll be on with one of our various other shows. Come hang out with us if you're lonely. Come hang out with us even if you're not. We're always around. It's nice. Create that community buzz. But for this week, I have been Guy Next Door.
I've been DK.
I've been Than.
And I've been special guest Owl.
Always remember to backtrack, kids. We will see you next time. Ka kite anō.
I've been throwing daggers in the night. I've been chasing all the stars, stealing all their lights. The cut so sharp, cut so deep. If they seem to hit their target, must be what we reap. 'Cause you don't know what I know. You don't feel the way I feel. All these places I want